Hello again, everybody. Well, today I'm doing something a little different. I've actually had several people ask me about what is it like to drive around on the top of Lookout Mountain. So we are heading up there to take a look and see what we can see. I'll tell you as much as I can, or as much as I know. But we're not going to hit every road. We're just going to hit the big general ones. So we will see what we can see today, shall we? The first thing that we're going to see on the way up the mountain isn't quite on the top yet. This stone wall that's right here marks the edge of what is known as the Guild and Hardy Trail, but was also originally the railroad bed for the broad gauge railroad that went up Lookout Mountain and then went around it. You'll have to look on maps online to find out exactly where it went, but it basically went on that left side of the road and went behind what is our next stop, which is Stone Edge. There was a very famous place to stay here. Now this is a set of townhomes and condominiums and whatnot for older folks. They're all privately owned. We're going to turn right onto what's known as East Brow Road. Think of the mountain shaped as and coming to a point. So East Brow Road's on one side, West Brow Road is on the other. You're going to have the high dollar fancy homes on the right because, you know, they have the brow view, so to speak. And funny enough, Swanee got started here, or University of South got started here. They talked about it and then went and started it over in the other location, which is over on Mont Eagle. See that some houses are fancy and are done around what rocks are there. Now you guys probably recognize this road because I have driven up this road a few times, usually because I'm going to the incline. So what this is going to do is we're going to follow this, and it's going to go all the way up to Point Park. Some of these houses are just nice. And while some of these houses are a little too modern, you definitely know that they have a heck of a view. We're coming up on an interesting intersection, so the incline's going to be on the right, and then there was a great hotel up here called the Lookout Hotel, I believe. I'll have to double check and make for sure. But if you look at old videos, if you look at old photos, you would see that this giant hotel would be up here on the left. Now it burned back in the day. And then here is the incline. Now, the incline's more modernized. It would have looked a lot different back in the day. If anybody follows me, this section right in here is where I often set up for time-lapse photos, for sunrises, or just to watch the storms go by. It's an excellent viewpoint. Look at that. Quite amazing. And then a lot of these homes that are on the right are much older homes because these would have been some of the OG homes up here when it was a really a summer place to go and try to escape the heat. Battles for Chattanooga is right there, as well as the Visitor Center for Point Park, which is part of the National Park Service. And it's part of the Chickamauga National Park. There's several little sections around in here. We loop around because this is a one-way road. And then this is also a one-way road. You can see the remains of what would have been houses. You can see the foundations are little portions. Of course, it's been a hot minute since people would have had houses there. And we're going to turn past that beautiful house again. Going over to what is West Brown now. Man, look at that stone. It's just amazing. These are also older homes. Now we're on West Brow. And again, this is the other side of the mountain, and it's going to be looking down into Lookout Valley, Tiftonia, and eventually it'll be looking down into the Georgia side. Some of those. And some of these are modern, and some of them are much older. Like a tour of these amazing historic homes. Can you imagine having that house? All it takes is for somebody to go shooting off the road and end up in the front of your house. Another key point we're coming up on is the parking lot for Sunset Rock. I have filmed that a few times in the past, so if you want to see what it looks like, you definitely are more than welcome to. But you can see that it is a very small parking lot. I think there are 9 parking spaces, and I will warn you ahead of time, a lot of the Lookout Mountain residents that live nearby do not want parking, so you can see no parking signs painted on the ground as well as all over the place. Now, interesting little tidbit, we just passed it. Right past the Sunset Rock parking lot is where the narrow gauge railroad came up onto Lookout Mountain. It would have left from below Point Park at the Point Lookout Hotel. And it would have come down this way, and it would have looped around, and it would have gone back towards the incline. I'll show you guys that in a minute. We'll turn left Watauga Lane runs into North Bragg, which is another key location. If you recognize some of these names, it's because they were named after folks during the Civil War. You've got Bragg, you've got Lyerly, all these other locations. You've got a portion of what is the Presbyterian Church, I believe. Yep, the sign says that is the youth building. And you can see the Presbyterian Church on your right. And then, interestingly enough, what's known as Lookout Mountain Elementary over on the other side. This is the second location for it. The first one was a one-room schoolhouse. I imagine it would have been difficult back in the day to get down off this mountain. Now we're heading up North Bragg. We're going to go up here to the water towers, turn around, and then head back down so that we can look into more of the core of Lookout Mountain. If you're in Chattanooga or in the area and you look up to Lookout Mountain, you will definitely recognize these. These are the water towers that supply the water for Lookout Mountain, Tennessee, and believe it or not, there also is a Lookout Mountain, Georgia, because we are that close to the state line. Anyway, we're going to loop around this. That is the original fire hall and police station. It's in private ownership now, but that's where the original fire trucks would have been based out of. Makes sense, right next door to the water towers, to be able to pump water pretty efficiently. Alright, so now we are heading down North Bragg towards the core of Lookout Mountain, Tennessee. We'll get a much better look at the Presbyterian Church, which has grown exponentially over the years. You can get a much better look at the elementary school, and then what was originally the community center that was added on to the end of the school, the Memorial Community Center. You can see that when you're on a mountain, having to deal with parking can get interesting. And as we come down here, we see Old Man of the Mountain. He was a pretty famous tourist attraction back in the day. And then this place I have filmed before a couple of times. This is the Spiritualist Campground. Now, if you want to see what this looks like, you can go and see this in the future by going through some of my older videos. Now, if you go left, this is Scenic Highway. It would take you back down the mountain, but we're going to go right. We're going to go across the bridge. On the right is an Episcopal church called the Church of the Good Shepherd. And then coming up in front of us is what is locally known as the Commons. So it's the more modern public community area. And then up on top of that hill past there is the new fire hall, police station, and where the government of Lookout Mountain meets. Now, at some point in the future, I will do a better in-depth of the commons. But for now, it's basically got a couple of ball fields, a soccer field, playgrounds. All in all, pretty interesting. We've got the public works for the community up here. And then this is known as Business District of Lookout Mountain. And it is really the only business district. So you've literally got a line of stores. You've got a little market up here. You have got a spa up here. The post office is up here. And then you've got one of two restaurants that are on the mountain. And there are all sorts of different styles of houses up here, because some are modern and some are historic. Well, not historic, but definitely older. Okay, we are back down to Scenic Highway. Now, there's the little cemetery that I filmed not too terribly long ago. They've done ground penetrating radar and are trying to identify who is buried there. But we're going to go this way. One thing you need to be very careful of while driving on this mountain is that the speed limit is very low, like 20 to 25. Remember, too, that there is a lot of history up here, so literally right where that little bend is where there were some Civil War earthworks. Because during the Civil War, the South and the North were both up here at one point or another. And just like that, we are in Georgia.
Welcome to Georgia.
Just as the car said. And since we are in Georgia, it is a separate government. There is a separate town hall, a separate police and fire. Of course, both sides help each other out. Now, for you history buffs, this is the original entrance to what is known as Fairyland, or Fairland as the locals call it. That was part of the destination thing for Rock City. You could have stayed at the Fairland Inn, and then you would have gone over to Rock City. There is the newly constructed town hall. And if you go up that way, you'd go to Covenant College, which was also a famous hotel at one point. I will hit that up in a video in the future. this direction is the entrance to Rock City. One of the more interesting things about this area, too, is Mr. Carter had all this land purchased, and he would sell little lots so that you could build your house. Well, since it's the Fairyland theme, all of the roads are named of different things. Like, we're driving on a Red Riding Hood trail. We just passed Peter Pan Lane, I believe. That's Aladdin that we're passing. So they all have whimsical names. Going straight would go off the mountain and go down into a little community called St. Elmo. We're going to go around here. And we're going to drive past Rock City. And Rock City is one of the places that I have filmed a lot back in the day. This is the back side. And then this little fenced in area, if you're old enough, was where the deer used to be. But the deer haven't been there in a long time. Matter of fact, the deer are officially retired and have been moved elsewhere. Before we go back, I completely forgot about this. We're on the back side of a golf course that's up here too. It used to be known as the Lookout Mountain Golf Course. It is now partnered with what was the Fairyland Club, or the Fairland Club. They are now called the Lookout Mountain Club, I believe. And I am not a golfer, but from what I have been told, this is a pretty fun course to play if you're into golf. It is a membership only one. I am not 100% sure if they offer guest passes. But you can see a peek of it every now and then. It's also a place where a lot of the kids, on the very rare times when it snows enough, can sled or saucer down the hills that are part of the fairways. And yes, the camera does not lie. These are very, very, very narrow roads back here. And you can see, looks like they're working on the course. I see bulldozers. Maybe they're improving it, but just to give you a visual reference, up here in a minute we're going to pass the driving range, and you can see the I guess somebody's clearing some land, but you'll be able to see Covenant College here in a minute. I don't know how much you can see through the brush, but that definitely looks like they're doing some pretty major renovations. I don't know if they're changing the layout or building more hills up or making it more challenging. be something to find out about in the future. Here we come up to the driving range. And you can see, good Lord, a lot of construction going on, but you can see there is Covenant College. And then here is the clubhouse for this golf course. But we're going to go this way. Well, they are doing a bunch of work. I can't imagine trying to work up here. A normal golf course is hard enough to work with, but then you figure working on one that's on top of the mountain, you can't dig down too deep because you are going to hit rock pretty quickly. And because we're in Georgia instead of Tennessee, it also means another school. So we're getting ready to pass, I think it's called the Fairland School. So this, yep, Fairland School. So that is the elementary school for Georgia. All right, so we're back to where you can turn to go to Rock City, go straight, or what we're doing is we're going to go check out the last location that I'm going to show you guys, and that is what was the Fairland Inn, then became the Fairland Club, and now is part of the Lookout Mountain Club. And it's got a ton of history as well. Tom Thumb Golf started here, which was the original mini golf. Now, yes, there was an older mini golf called Thistledew, but that was private. Tom Thumb, while it might have started off private, became a franchise, and during the Depression, that was where mini golf started. And it all started right up on this property. But you can see that the old inn is still here. Now it's a private club. Now, I'm not a member, so I can't exactly go in. But it is still impressive. And this was part of Garnet and Frida Carter's legacy. Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed a little bit of a rambling look driving around Lookout Mountain. As always, I'm off to go on some more journeys. So until then, why don't you go on a journey of your own? We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.